Qualpedia viewers. So here we are back again with one more expert view session on the topic of restricted substances in apparel. So here I have the guest expert speaker, Dr. Subrata Das, here with me. So he is currently acting as a professor in Banariman Institute of Technology. Also he is like one of the technical expert in NABCB and having various expertise in guards inspection as well as in the audit field. So thank you so much, Dr. Subrata Das, for your valuable time, and we are looking forward to learn a lot from you in this session. So thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you and good morning, everybody.
Yeah, thank you. And here from our Qualpedia team, along with me, like I have Mr. Prasanna, who is the Qualpedia mentor. So welcome, Prasanna, to the session, and thank you for your presence.
Thank you, Soundarya, and Dr. Das. We are most privileged to have you in this session. We look forward for the great session with our Qualpedia viewers and share your great knowledge to the members, Mr. Das.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes. And about Das, like I have known Dr. Suprata Das for the past 5 to 6 years, and I also got the opportunity to be directly mentored by him during my college days. So here, for the Qualpedia viewers, I will give a short introduction about him. So Dr. Suprata Das is having the doctorate in textile technology with a specialization of 7 to 8 fields, and also he has more than 36 plus years of experience, and he has worked in various reputed organizations like in the Central Silk Board of India. He is one of the senior research manager during that time, and also he has holding and like a patent for the same like manufacturing of silk process as well. And apart from this, he is also a technical expert in the NABCB, that is the National Accreditation Board of Certification Body, as well as an empaneled auditor in NABL, like National Accreditation Board of Laboratory as well. So likewise, he is working on various like initiatives and steps. And apart from all this, he is also an author. Like he has written more than 15 plus books, and which seven are international books and published in various reputed magazines as well. So the latest book which he has written on the ethics and human values in engineering practice. So it has also been now the book review has been published on the Asian Textile Journal. And also he's got the recognition of leading engineers for the world 2013 by the International Biographical Center in by the from the Cambridge, England. So this is the short brief. There are a lot of other things which Dr. Suprata Das is also like doing on, which will like I can share for a few more minutes as well. But this is the just short one which we are sharing. So we are so much privileged to have you here, sir. Thank you so much once again.
Yeah, welcome and
Yes.
great
And
introduction given by you. Hmm.
yeah, thank you so much, sir. And here, like for the Qualpedia viewers, I would just like to give a short introduction about the platform. So this Qualpedia is a knowledge sharing platform which we have created with the intention of like creating and delivering the responsible value to you. So in this platform, we will be sharing the contents in the form of blogs, articles, videos, carousels, and also we used to conduct a lot of expert interview sessions as well to learn the best practices from the industry experts. So if you also want to know more about this platform, you can visit to www.qualpedia.com, where you will be finding a lot of informative contents. And we mainly acting as a catalyst between all the supply chain partners and the students, and we work on to create an awareness to them about this like our industry. So this is the just short introduction. Now let's move on formally to the session. So, Dr. Suprata Das, here I have formulated few questions on the topic of management of restricted substances in apparel. So, I will be asking the questions and I request you to share the best of your knowledge to our Qualpedia viewers, sir. Yeah. So, my first question is, sir, can you please guide me on what is RSL? So, can you please give us a short brief on the same?
Yeah, actually, this is a very important area now. Consumer awareness, when it is there in the field of garment industry. Previously, we are not thinking about these restricted substances. We are only doing little bit of testing of garment in the performance criteria. But this restricted substances has come into the picture, and question comes that why it is restricted. Restriction is from the chemical side, so chemicals are restricted. Now, why these chemicals are restricted? This is a great questions from the consumers, and because of that, this RSL testing also has become popular. Now, in order to answer your questions on RSL, why they are restricted, So number one reason is that some of the chemicals or the substances, okay, so they directly affect this human body, okay, and genetic modification is there. So we call those areas as mutagenic, okay. And then there is the cancer causing some of the areas are there in the dye stuffs, and some chemicals are also involved. Some finishing chemicals, some dyes which are banned dyes, banned azo-dyes, aromatic amides. So all these things are available. So those are all cancer causing substances. So those are also under the this restricted substances, and we call that category as a carcinogenic. So the third category is that when the reproductive system of human body is getting affected, okay. So those chemicals or substances which performs that function in the human body, it is a negative performance. So we call those substances as reprotoxic. Then another category of chemicals which are there, that is not biodegradable at all. Okay, if we throw out those like a shirt we are wearing with some plastisol prints, okay, so phthalate is there, so it is not easily biodegradable. So we call it as a persistent to the nature. So that is also one of category by which a substance or chemical become restricted. And then finally comes the when we take some substances and inside the animal body it goes, so fat tissues are getting accumulated with that chemicals, so we call it as a bioaccumulative kind of thing. So these are different criteria which are available why a substance becomes restricted in the garment field. And chemicals and substances are getting classified based on these criteria. Either one or the multiple criteria are involved into this.
Okay, sir. Thank you for the brief guidance. So I got that how the substances are classified into restricted one, and also at the end it is like in order to protect the safety of the consumer, we are like initiated this kind of regulations. So I got the same. So I will move on to my next question, sir. Here. So my next question is like, what is like mean by the restricted substances list, and what is the purpose of the same, sir?
Okay, now this is the $1 billion questions from the point of view of the consumers, and also it is the requirement of the buyer. Nowadays, without restricted substances knowledge, what happens that a buyer will not place the order to that particular factory. So that vendor awareness also is very much required in this restricted substances list, that we call it as a RSL. Okay. Now, this RSL, why this restriction is there? As I already mentioned to you, what are those restrictions? Now, RSL, when you are talking, this is a basically the restriction on the finished product. Okay, so RSL, whatever chemicals or substances which are there mentioned, so those are getting checked in the finished product only. And when I'm talking about the finished product, it is not only the apparel, but also leather goods are also plastic products are also involved into this. Okay. Now, these brands, what they do normally, they give these restricted substances list actually to the factory. Okay. And they follow that particular list and see that their finished product should not contain all this. Now, how it comes, why this is becoming a restricted substances list now, and why it is important also. So, number one is that government laws and regulations associated with that particular country, and different government, they are having their different regulations associated with this RSL list. Then second one is the brand. Okay, so brand, they are having some restrictions of certain chemicals, and it comes from their interaction with the different consumers. Okay, and third one is the very interesting one is the eco label. You know that we are having the eco label such as Ocotex 100 or GOTS. Okay, so those kind of eco label, they restrict also certain chemicals, and that's why those chemicals and substances, they enter into the restricted substances list. So in that fashion, a restricted substances list is coming up, and which is a very dynamic one. You know that today there is a restricted substances list. So we cannot expect that after 6 months, same restricted substances list will persist or not, because The new chemicals or new substances, those are coming in the form of chemicals, in form of some finishing agents, etc. So those are getting reviewed actually in REACH regulations, and they also impose certain chemicals, and that comprehensive dynamic list they prepare and getting upgraded over a period of time. So that's why this list, restricted substances list, is basically a list of chemicals or substances, and by which a buyer is giving the restriction to the consumer goods. Okay, so those chemicals or substances should not present, because if it is present in that particular product, then that particular product may be harmful to the particular person, consumer, or it may be harmful to the environment also. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so basically, if, that is the significance of restricted substances list. Okay.
Yeah, yes, sir. So I got a fair idea now. So this RSL, that restricted substances, it is created in order to reduce the use of hazardous or chemical substances in the consumer good. And nowadays, like consumers' expectation on getting a safety and eco-friendly product is also rising. So hereafter, I will, because of the sharing, whichever you have guided, now the manufacturers and suppliers will also get a fair idea, and they will take care on this thing during production of consumer goods. Yeah. So moving on to the third question, that is, you have already covered few areas of this already. Why this restricted substances list is important. So you can share in terms of like why supplier is also like the manufacturer of the consumer goods is also necessary to take this kind of thing while producing the goods. So you can share this information to our viewers, sir.
So this is also, as I already mentioned, that why it is important that RSL,
Mm-hmm.
okay, and this is a very important tool. Basically, it is an important tool because in this century, what we are talking about the product safety, okay, product safety, and also the consumer health, okay. So also the environment. So this is the only tool available with us by which we ensure that when we follow the restricted substances list and ensure that these chemicals or substances which are not present in the finished goods, then we really ensure that the product is safe in use. Okay, so basically these restricted substances, it is important because it talks about the safety issues of a garment. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
consumer, when they get such kind of goods, they will be confident that yes, this my good what I am wearing today, so this is a safe goods. Okay, no harm will be there from the health point of view, or if I throw it to the environment also, there is no harm to the environment. So because basically this is a safety issues, product safety issues of a garment takes care in this RSL document.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yes, sir. So it will be safe
Just
to the consumer. Yeah. Yes, Prasanna.
just one question, Mr. Das. Adding to this, which is you said about the safety aspect, which is not going to harm to the consumers. Uh, can you just give an example that what are all the harmfulness which can happen to that consumers? So it will be clear like what type of that harmfulness will happen.
Yeah.
Example like skin rashes or what? Can you brief on that little?
Yeah, now related to this RSL, first point comes that how the RSL comes actually, like this when you are talking about the carcinogenic effect. Okay, so there are a lot of dyestuffs was available once this one in the market. Those dyestuffs actually were used in the production, and when they were used and dyed, then those products when was getting tested as a finished product, so people are detecting the harmful aromatic amines into that. Those are having the carcinogenic effect. Okay, so now those chemicals, those dyestuffs are getting banned. So now dyestuff manufacturer also are very much restrictive. They don't produce such chemicals at all. Now still in the market, some of the chemicals or some of the dyestuffs are available, very cheap products. Suppose if you want to taste certain kind of ladies scarves or such material, still we will get certain kind of aromatic amines, which is cancer causing material. Okay, these have been detected. So normally very cheap products and all these things, people still use such kind of things. Another example is in the printing, that you know that the plastisol print, this plastisol print was in use for a long time. Okay, and there were certain advantages also was there, like a floppy effect was there, a lot of flexibility in touch and all these things. Okay, slippery effect was there, so people were liking this product. So that's why plastisol print was very popular. But later on, people have detected the phthalate in it. Okay, so so this kind of product. Okay, so now we cannot use the phthalate because there are restrictions, different, like a around 10 to 15 phthalates now people have detected, maybe much more is coming up. So those kind of phthalate, if it is present now, and plastisol print, definitely people cannot use, they have to see some alternative to that prints. So those are kind of restrictions actually, and similar kind of restrictions are there in the toys also. In that industry also is greatly affected by the RSL because of this content of the lead. Okay, so lead and cadmium and the nickel, those are the heavy metal categories that also comes under this purview. And a lot of regulations, like I was talking, the government regulation like CPSIA, such kind of regulations, they have come out with the children goods and all these things for toys. And this is also a very great amount of children's safety, is a big area of coverage into this. So children are getting affected because of that. When they chew the product, so product goes into their mouth, and that lead, when it goes above the permissible limit, so the mental growth of the child is getting affected. Okay, when it goes into the bloodstream. So in that fashion, a lot of other effects in the human bodies are also there. When you take some or somehow or other, it goes into the body of a person. And especially this, when you are talking about the safety, we normally talk about the children's safety. Okay, so children's safety is a very big point here, very big area of discussions. We should not use certain chemicals which will harm this one. Foil printing is also another area. Okay, so foil printing people are using previously, but now it is getting restricted for certain children products and all these. So because of these restrictions, so restricted substances list, that's why is very important, and it applies to different class of people, and safety aspect, that's why is very important in this industry now.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Das. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Over to the next question, sir. So here, the next one I would like to know is like, what is RSL testing?
Yeah, this RSL testing, when you are talking, as we already mentioned, that what are the products are there in the RSL testing, you know that restricted substances, whether it is present there in the article or not. When you are talking about the article, I am only talking about the finished article. So finished garment or finished leather items, whatever is that finished product, we are getting the feel that yes, this chemical is present there, but how to ensure that? So that is the test you have to carry out for that. So those kind of tests are normally the analytical tests, and which are carrying out to detect that level of kind of amount of substances, restricted substances present in it by means of LCMS or GCMS or AAS. So different analytical instruments are there by which those test methods are applied, and people get the feeling, yes, these are the chemicals which are present, and whether it is present or not, in order to ensure, because buyers, they normally depend upon such tests, and they submit the garment through the vendors to third-party laboratories which are accredited under 17,025. So those kind of laboratories are only eligible to do such kind of testing, and without such tests, actually one cannot identify whether the finished good contains these chemicals or not. By seeing the product, we cannot get any idea until and unless we are getting the test to be done on that product. And several international standards are there which are prescribed in AATCC, ASTM or ISO, or buyer developed standards are also there in this market. So government standards are also available. So those are the tools actually normally used for testing of this RSL in the finished product.
Yeah, okay, sir. I got that. So various standards are also there, and as per the buyer also, they will like customize the standards, and like the supplier needs to do the testing on the finished products, and accordingly in the any of the accredited lab. So adding to the testing itself, I have one more question, sir. So does this RSL includes any kind of performance testing?
Yeah, actually, there is a lot of confusion about this in the among the vendors also, among the different consumers also. That basic difference between the performance testing and this RSL testing or chemical testing or environmental testing, people normally tells about that. Performance testing, basically, we talk about the different durability testing kind of thing of the product or the fastest properties of the product. Okay, but it doesn't take care of the RSL. Okay, RSL is basically the analytical tests. Okay, so those are the tests are done based on the availability or the presence of the product, the chemicals into the product. So those testings, those are quite different testing rather than the performance testing. And but both are required from the quality manual point of view. Normally buyers, actually what they do normally, they do a kind of quality manual, and RSL manual they make it different. Okay, some buyers they put it together. So but it is different. Basically performance testing, those things are very routine testing kind of thing, but RSL testing is a specialized testing that are to be carried out in the finished product, and to ensure that yes, no harmful chemicals or banned chemicals or substances are present in the finished product.
Okay, okay, sir. I got that. The both are different one, and also what is the use of this RSL testing also I got. So moving on to the next question, sir. So in case if a supplier is complied with the RSL requirement, so is it guaranteed that the supplier's product will be accepted by the brand? So is it, or else any other thing requirement is there?
Yeah, now this is again that when RSL requirements are fulfilled, okay, and whether the brand will accept the product or not, this is your question. Now, what happens? Usually, some brands actually they restrict some additional substances which are not included in the RSL sometimes. Okay, so and also they sometimes give some sort of higher restriction values what is there in RSL. So in that case, what happens, though RSL requirements are fulfilled by testing, one can ensure, but still then buyer is not happy with the product. Okay, and also this unique thing is that of this RSL is that like a radioactive product, okay, and explosive. So such kind of products are not included in the RSL. Okay, so what buyers they do normally, they want nowadays a signed agreement kind of thing. Yes, this your product should not have restricted substances. Okay, so that's why it is a legal or safety requirement. So that is specifically listed, okay, in the company's RSL or product safety regulation manuals. So there is no guarantee that when a supplier meets all the RSL requirements, still buyer will be happy and allow them to ship the goods, because they will definitely just compare with their restrictions, with their kind of detection, okay, that limit values and all these things, so whether it is crossing that limit values or not. So those things are there in the buyer's hand, and that's why this signing of the agreement kind of thing on this product safety point of view or legal point of view, those are very, very important. So it all depends upon the buyer, okay, whether they will after finishing their all testing, by seeing the result, whether they will allow them just go through it and buyer, because the factory will claim yes, my all testing have been completed, okay, all past results I am getting, but there are certain kind of limit values are also there. So very, very important are those limit values. So buyer sees those limit values and compare and see the possibility, okay, whether this kind of limit, if it exceeds, whether there is any kind of product point of view, any safety issues are there or not. So those kind of things, it all depends upon the decision of the buyer, and also the country where it is getting exported, because some of the countries they are having higher limit values, higher restrictions are also there. So there it is getting restricted, though the all RSL testing has been completed, but still then buyer put that consignment on hold because of that reason. It has also been seen very interestingly from my practical this one testing with some of the international companies, and also from the buyer point of view, one product has been tested, and it has been cleared by one Tommy Hilfiger buyer in Europe. Okay, but when that product was tagged in China, it has not passed. Okay, China GB testing was done on the same product, but it has not been passed. Okay, because of this kind of restriction. So this is a clear example now before me that yes, if all RSL testing is getting passed also, so there is no guarantee that it will be shipped. Maybe Europe they are accepting, but China they are not accepting the same product. Okay, so that is the real tug of war going on between in this industry regarding these RSL testings and their limit values.
Okay, okay, sir. I got an idea. So even though the RSL compliance is there based on the buyer specification, the country of destination, and the limit value, so a lot of other parameters will also be involved, which the supplier needs to take care. Yeah. So thank you for the insight, sir. So I'm moving on to my last question. So can we ship the materials before we have a pass test on the RSL, sir? Is it possible, or how it will be?
Typically, actually, if testing material, actually, it should not be shipped, okay, until the final product testing is getting done. What happens that this RSL testing, normally buyer wants to do at the last, okay, at the final production when it is completed, that time they want to see that how is the performance. Okay, suppose some 10% garment production is ready, then they go for this kind of RSL testing. And though that particular product was a buyer nominated product, it was tested earlier and it passed. And then that company, the factory took that material and they put it in the garment, and they are then go for the production, bulk production. Now, when the bulk production is on, then the sample is pulled from this bulk production to get the final garment testing results. So at that time, it was found, many cases it has been found that though the actual material seems to be the past material, but when it is attached to the garment, okay, it failed in RSL testing. So there is tested material, that's why it should not be shipped as such, though it is buyer nominated. We need to test at the final product itself. Okay, the final product and the product which was used as an accessory. This normally happens for the accessories like a bead sequence and all these things, products which are tied up with the garment at the later stages. Okay, so that type of things, when finally it is getting tested, then only we get the right result. So final testing, that's why formal garment testing is, that's why very important. So that testing, when it is completed, then they will be allowed to ship the garments. Otherwise, normally it should not be shipped. That's why the product should not be shipped into that.
Okay, okay, sir, I got it. So we need to test it on the final stage of production, and only after getting the pass result, it can be shipped. So that completes all my questions, sir. So thank you so much for patiently answering all these things. And it was a very interactive session. And I hope like all our Qualpedia viewers will also get a good idea as well as an awareness about this, what is this RSL and also why it is important. So all those things they get a fair idea, I guess, sir. So thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, thank you very
Yeah.
much for your
Yes. And
answering.
also, yes, sir. And also, like for our Qualpedia viewers, I would like to share about your other contributions as well. So, like here, I will just share the scene. So, dear viewers, like now you have listened to Dr. Das view session on the management of restricted substances. So, earlier also, like Dr. Subrata Das has contributed for our Qualpedia platform. So, he was acting as a Qualpedia mentor, come content writer. So as of now, he has published now 3 articles. One is he talked about the sustainability, like basics about the sustainability. Also, he has shared about the different 17 SDG goals. So you can check out the scene. And also regarding the second content, he has guided like how we can evaluate the spirality in the knitted fabrics and garments. And the third one related to the same topic, he has given a video like content on the management of restricted substances in apparel. So in the description box of this video, you can find all this links. So you can check out the scene where like lot of informational contents are there. So to know more about this, you can check out these links. So this is about the same, sir. And thank you so much for your contribution as well as your insights. So we are so much privileged and all your informations, whichever you shared with us, it was very informative and lot of things we have newly learned from this session, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to interact with you and say a few words on those questions. Very useful questions you have asked about this. I think it will be very much useful for the students, useful for the factory owners, useful for the vendors, and
Mhm.
useful for the buyers also working in this area. So, thank you very much for the same.
Yeah, yes, sir. Rightly said. And over to you, Prasanna.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir. And it's an amazing, awesome session. And many of our viewers, they are going to get useful, and it's going to be published in for our viewers sooner. So looking forward for the further sessions like this, sir, in upcoming days. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you very much.